Great weekend, Chege.
A good weekend.
I'm happy to hear.
Yes.
All right, so there's a lot that happened, of course, during, like last week on Friday. We now do have a new deputy president under the 2010 Constitution, who is Professor Kindiki, otherwise known now as Abrake, coined by the president himself. And I just want to read for you part of the president's speech. For this particular matter. He said, "My dear Professor Kindiki, I need your voice, I need your intellect to help me and to help members of our cabinet to profile things we are doing, to speak to the things we are doing. I have almost become a lonely voice in the executive, especially in the presidency." And then just while as he was ending, he said, "I'm confident that you will do that which I missed for the last 2 years. I know you will." You know, and like I mentioned, he also said that in the presidency, especially, he has been lonely. He has been, you know, a lonely voice for that matter. So what did you feel about the president's, speech at the inauguration, or rather swearing in for that matter?
Thank you so much this morning, and I want to thank God for giving us another new week.
Yes.
And I also want to send my greetings to all people of Nakuru County. I was there last week because of some people in Gilgil who have issues with land, and they have original title deeds. That's what we are fighting for. Now, it was very hypocritical of the president to say that now he has another voice who can be talking of what development that the government is doing. And the reason I'm saying that, the satire about all this is because we have Gachagua here who is being impeached because they are saying all along he has been talking about Mount Kenya region. No other region. Okay, are we together? Now the president says that in those 2 years, people can't see, even in Mount Kenya, people can't see what he has been doing. But you have Rigathi who has been talking about the government only in Mount Kenya region. He goes ahead to appoint a person from Mount Kenya region to come and say what Gachagua has not been saying. And this person called Kindiki is supposed not to be now talking for the mountain. He's supposed to talk for the whole country. But here we had a deputy president, Gachagua, who was talking on behalf of the community, Mount Kenya, to Mount Kenya people, and they cannot see what Ruto has done. Now, compare with the Kindiki who is coming, and now he's supposed to talk for the whole country, not even for the Mount Kenya region. Who will see what this regime has done? You see, it's common sense. Every Kenyan, even those abroad, they can feel there's something amiss in this country. And so that you can understand this divide and rule that Ruto is doing. Because in his entire life, he has been doing divide and rule so that he can try and sustain narratives and sustain himself in a seat.
I see.
The reason I'm saying that, during this voice he has brought to Mount Kenya now to talk about this government development, we missed key figures. We missed Uhuru. He didn't even send a congratulation. He's a very senior person there in that region. We missed Irongo Kenyatta. He never sent even congratulation. In fact, the former central region, the Mount Kenya, former central, that Mount Kenya West, none of the governor attended. Not even one. It should tell you that people are now coming to realize and they can see the divide and rule that Ruto is doing. Because prior to Kindiki being appointed, nominated by the president, all these governors, the president had told them, these senior people in Mount Kenya, had told them, niwewe, niwewe. To a point, the Murang'a governor, Irongo Kenyatta, had been told even to resign, that he is the next deputy president. So there's no need of him continuing being the governor. Go and resign. Because Uhuru was told the same. In fact, there were 7 names, the people who are told the same thing. But then they realized all along, Ruto has been playing Pinky Ponky. You remember that famous Pinky Ponky games? Pinky Ponky games with them. Now we want to see this voice that he's bringing that cannot even be supported by the senior political figures in UDA in Mount Kenya region. We want to see how he will entrench himself as the people. Number 2, yesterday I was watching an interview of one of the sister stations where we had Professor Munene. He's a historian from one of the universities. We had Advocate Mwangi, who has been Raira's lawyer, and a senior advisor for Raila for a long time. And a question was posed to them, and they were asked, these are historians, of course they don't go to any side, they are not DA, they are not in Gachagua side. And they were asked, a question was posed to them, and they were asked, do you think Kindiki has what it takes to unite Mount Kenya region? In fact, they said in unison that he will not, he will never. Because even the message that was sent by the Mount Kenya leaders in inauguration, it was loud and clear that Ruto, you will not appoint leaders for people of Mount Kenya region. It was not about a voice. The government has people who talk about their development. It is not the function of the deputy president to come and tell Kenyans what they are doing. The government has delivery unit office that usually tell Kenyans this is what you have been doing. The government has majority leader in parliament, Kimani Ichung'wah, who should be telling Kenyans what they have been doing. They have the majority in Senate. Where is Gachagua coming as the voice of what the government has been doing?
Right.
During, let me finish. During Kibaki era, when did Kibaki came out and say, this is what the government is doing? People saw, people felt it. We can feel in our pockets there is no money. We can see the corruption that is going on. We can see the abduction and killings. What do you want Kenyans to be told that they cannot see with the naked eyes?
Right. Now, with that, before Kinuthia, he gives us his perspective, we're asking you, as the second in command, do you think Kindiki will meet the expectations of the office of the deputy president? As the second in command, do you think Kindiki will meet the expectations of the office of the deputy president? Please give us your perspectives on the same. Our social media handles are right there on your screens. That is Facebook and X. We'll use the handle at K24 TV, and our WhatsApp line is right there on your screens. We'd love to know what your thoughts are. Right, Kinuthia, what's your perspective on that?
A very good morning once again, and thank you for reading the president's speech for me, because I was sitting in a place, a restaurant, with very many people. And they watched, and even we saw Kindiki and the flags fighting with his face. But immediately the president took to speak. People switched the station, and they said they are not going to listen. So I never got to hear what the president said. And I got to learn that that was happening everywhere. You go to social media, they were saying, Kindiki amemaliza hiyo ingine tutaki kusikia. So thank you for reading it for me. At least now I know what the president said. And I would like to say I don't think the people who said switch it off were wrong. Because once in a while we've had things like kutakuwa na gasi ya 300, and then so many years on we are still waiting. So Kenyans don't want to hear. They don't want to find themselves in a situation where they believe something that is untrue and something that will not happen. Will Kindiki deliver? Is Kindiki the right candidate? I had people say, or I had the president, like what you've read there, saying he's been missing something for 2 years. So I want to tell Kenyans, prepare yourself. All the roads will be fixed because Rigathi was the problem and is gone. All the hospitals will start functioning tomorrow morning because the president that is the person who is Rigathi Gachagua is gone. He was the problem. If we had a problem with school capitation, it will happen. Tomorrow morning schools will have money because Rigathi is gone. The university funding model fantastically will begin to work tomorrow morning because Rigathi Gachagua is gone. Everything that was going amiss in this country automatically will start working properly because they think Rigathi Gachagua is the problem and he's gone. You'd be stupid to believe that. I think things will be worse. Rigathi was an opposition in this government. There was a time when this government wanted to destroy and bring down houses of people within Nairobi selectively, I must say, because we ended up realizing that there are no rivers in Kangemi. There are no rivers in Kibra. The rivers were only in Korogosho, Mathare, and Kariobangi. That's where people had built on rivers. There are no rivers in Kibra, kuna river uko. So, and the deputy president came up and said, wait a minute, this is wrong. And then they wake up one morning and decide that Marikiti will need to move, and without thinking about those traders. And so I think Rigathi Gachagua made a good opposition within government, which we need because the true opposition is gone. I mean, Raila Odinga is now in this government. His people are in this government. How will they oversight the government that they are in? So now we have Kindiki, who will be a yes sir kind of deputy president. Turn left and he'll be asking how many degrees left. So we are in a very difficult place because now it appears that every voice that wanted to speak, they had found a way to silence it. And this was the only guy they couldn't put in a Subaru. Now they've taken him home to Madeira. So let us see how it turns out to be. But I can tell you, the problem was not Rigiji. And even if he was one of the problems, even if he's gone, the bigger problems are still within. So we are not expecting anything special.
Right. Now you said something very pertinent. Some analysts, political analysts for that matter, have described the former DP as a bully, very blatant and rough on the edges, while the new deputy president has been described as professional and intellectual. Right, and you've also seen what the president says. You know, I need your intellect. I need you to elaborate what I am doing, you know, for the past 2 years, you know, and what the cabinet has also been doing. Right. So when you see this particular contrast, does it mean that the president was missing something the entire time that we had the former deputy president in power?
You see, the reason why President William Samoei Ruto opposed the 2010 constitution, the constitution that we have now, because he wanted when he becomes president, he can have the absolute power. He can rule like Moi. Are you together? And the reason he was not able to rule like Moi is because he had a deputy who was also had his own views. That whenever we had the Gen Zs and everything, we have a deputy who comes and say, NIS, you have not done your job to advise the government. When you have all these taxes going around, he come and say, I don't support this tax system because we are in a democratic country. It means that he can feel there's something wrong. But the people saying that, the government saying that, in fact, the people who saying Gachagua was a bully are the people around the government because they feel that what the government says should be the order. We had the MPs the other day where Kenyans expressed their dissatisfaction with the finance bill. And they said, we don't want the finance bill. But we had the members of parliament who could go to the ground and listen to the people, but come and tell the president, people are very okay. In fact, they are very happy with the finance bill. They are even clapping. The president came to realize that the finance bill, people don't want it when people went to the parliament, trying to ban the parliament. Are we together? Right. Now, we had the deputy president here telling the president, no, people are saying no to the finance bill. I'm also saying no to the finance bill. He goes to the people on the ground, say, like my friend has said, people are saying no to the demolition. The manifestos of UDA, they say they will never allow again. And that was president words. They will never allow illegal demolitions where people's houses are being demolished in an unorthodox way. We have a deputy who says, no, we are not going this road because we agreed and we promised people of Kenya that we are going this road. The reason they are happy that Kindiki has come is because that mouth that was telling Kenyans, we said this, we never said this, has been shut. That was Gachagua. If you look at all the allegations so that Kenyans can understand, you see the good thing about, the good thing Gachagua did on this whole impeachment, he allowed it to go until to the Senate. So that when this Mutuse guy was being scrutinized by the advocates, the allegations of Gachagua, Kenyans could tell that all those allegations were all malicious. He could not even substantiate one of the allegations. That one can tell you that Ruto wanted to rule alone. In fact, right now, I don't think there is any Kenyan anywhere who thinks right now we have a deputy president. Kindiki is an extension of Ruto. If today Kindiki, like we are sitting here, goes to State House and Ruto tells him, we are taking over the Masai Mara for housing project, Kindiki will just sign and will clap for that. And that's a very good idea, Mr. President. But you have a president like Gachagua who will go, you heard that he banged the table in State House. Like he will go and tell Mr. President, I'll bang a table, we cannot go to Masai Mara. We have a lot of empty spaces there in Isiolo. But do you think Kindiki can do that? Kindiki cannot do it. And that's why you see all the people who have been like, yes, sir, Mr. President, Akina Kemani Ishongwa, Akina Oscar Sudi, that they cannot question anything with the president. They were solely behind Kithure Kindiki, no any other candidate to take over the position. Kithure Kindiki, so that whatever Ruto says, it is the law. And that's what's going to happen going forward. You will never hear, even for a moment, a day Kindiki will stand on a podium and tell President, This is not what we promised people of Kenya. These policies are hurting our people. Yesterday, I saw a very brave woman from Rangwe. There was a meeting going on of the congregants, of the worshippers. And he told President on his face that, Mr. President, this change of policies from NHIF to SHA to SHIF, it's hurting Kenyans. To his face. You cannot see Kindiki even daring to correct a comma or a full stop of what President has said. In fact, from going forward, he will be put in a place, he will be told, you know, you are not even voted by anybody. I just nominated you because of my good heart. So, just shut up.
Okay. Kinuthia.
The president wanted to send a message to Kenyans. He's in charge of the police. He's in charge of the army. He's proven he's in charge of Senate. He's in charge of Parliament. The only thing was now the deputy. That was the only missing link. Now I think the next step will be now taking charge of the media. I think that's the only remaining headache now to the autocracy that this administration is looking for. So I will not be surprised if you start seeing intimidation happening towards media houses. Because now you are the only people who are making life very difficult. And then the next thing will be TikTok. TikTok inasumbua, TikTok inasumbua. That will be the next problem. This thing is making Kenya ungovernable. So anything, and the problem I have with this administration is that they never look at themselves as the problem. They never do. When finance bill was finance bill, and we all went to the streets and we said no to finance bill, they pointed a finger at us and said, you people are wrong, you're on the streets, you're doing the wrong thing, you're bringing anarchy. We told them, you're the ones who are bringing anarchy. When you bring a bill that is supposed to make my life so horrendous, so difficult, close to impossible, you're literally killing me. And when I speak about you choking me, you say I am mad. I'm not supposed to be on the street. I am not supposed to speak. This administration is finding fault in everybody else other than themselves. And that is where we have a problem as a country. But having said that, I have received letters, copies of letters from the people who are doing business in my constituency, Dagoretti South constituency. You know, our MP went to be with his boss, the president. And nowadays, I only see him where the boss is. He's not listening to our people. And now I have to speak for my people, Dagoretti South. And the people of Kamukunji and the people of Nyamakema, who are business people, they are getting these letters that are telling them to start bringing audited reports of their accounts for the last 3 years, to start explaining why you have more than 1 million shillings in your account, and so on and so forth. And it is bad for the business community. I keep telling people, if you see a tanker carrying 10,000 liters of fuel, the oil marketer, the owner of the petrol station, only makes 4 shillings per liter. So that tanker of 10,000 shillings, his money there is only 40,000. And because you're supposed to sell fuel at petrol at 180, it means they spend 176 shillings buying. So 1.76 million is capital. Their profit is only 40,000, gross, by the way. So sometimes you find business people with 2-3 million shillings in their account, and imagine their money is only 120,000, or no, 110 or 90,000. That is what is their money. The rest is business capital. Now we have an administration that has refused to understand that these business people are going through, like somebody who sells unga. A bundle of unga, a bale, probably makes that person only 100 shillings. So this person, and is buying that bill at about 2,000, has to have like 2,000 bills and then make 100 shillings from each bill. We have an administration that is looking, oh, this account has 5 million. Give us an audited report. Nini. And by the way, there is no place where our businessmen spend money and not pay taxes. So we are speaking to this administration and telling them, you have lit a fire in the business community that is here in Kamukonji, in the business community that is in Nyamakema, in the business community of Dagoretti and a few other places. And it is boiling. And these people are angry and they are mad. And we have copies of those letters, and you know they are being sent through banks to intimidate our people and to make business impossible for our people. So we are telling this administration, stop being that myopic. Stop looking at people's businesses as the next source of all the money that you can take away from Kenyans, and start asking yourself that these people are providing a service in this country. They are creating jobs. They have not stolen. In fact, there's no OB of complaint against any of those businesses that it has conned or stolen from anybody. This is money they've earned over years, sheer hard work. Someone has run a petrol station for 5 years, 10 years. Others are selling ungas, others are selling whatever they are selling, the wares they are selling here. So this administration has gone way too far. And you know what's going to happen? Now, the ripple effect of that is this. When I realized, like you heard what Moses Kuria said, and I don't know why he's advising the government that, my friend Moses Kuria, honestly, why are you advising government that way? That the money now on M-Pesa is going to be, they are going to start looking at your M-Pesa as if it's a pay bill. Now, what will happen is Kenya is going back to 1990, when you used to sell only in cash. And then you'd take that cash and keep in the house.
So let's take a look at it, in this particular perspective. Again, historians, analysts would look at this particular aspect as back when former President Daniel Moi, faced the attempted coup, the failed attempted coup. From that, he changed and became a different leader. Are we seeing the same thing here when it comes to the leadership of President Ruto, given what happened from the June 25th protests?
No.
So we're seeing a different...
The June 25th process is different. June 25th protest is about someone coming and bringing a bill literally that was going to kill Kenyans. And Kenyans saying no to it. You know, 1982 coup was different. It was a few military people deciding they can take over the government, which I think was wrong. I mean, we don't want anarchy in this country. But this particular one, we have a government that goes and writes a bill that wants to make pads expensive for women and impossible for the bulk of them to buy. We had a bill that was going to make pampers for children, tuanze kurudi kwa nepi. It was going to make life so horrible for Kenyans. And Kenyans said no to that particular bill. Motor vehicle circulation tax. I mean, it was going to make taxi business impossible. So when Kenyans said no to that bill, the government never saw any fault on its part. It saw fault on the part of the people who said no to the bill. And that's why I'm saying we have an insensitive crop of leadership. That everything they do, let me tell you, can you imagine that for the first time we've bought a software worth 104 billion for Chief? That has never happened anywhere in the world. 104 billion in one night, gone. And the problem is, those hospitals that were owed by NHIF, you know, they will not be able to speak on TV because they're afraid that a license, they will be intimidated. Any hospital that was owed money by NHIF before Chief came, right now, those hospitals are on the verge of closing because Chief does not want to pay the debts of NHIF. And the money they would have used to pay was this 104 billion that was wiped off in one night in the name of buying an operating system. So you have a hospital owed 15 million, 10 million, 5 million, 16 million, 22 million, and those hospitals cannot even be able to start buying injections. Let me tell you, we are facing a medical crisis coming very soon. Because if I run a hospital and government owes me 22 million, it means tomorrow I can't buy injections. It means I can't even buy paracetamol. What will happen? Our health system is headed for collapse. If we don't pay those we owe, how did we get to a place where we have money to pay a system, 104 billion, but we don't have money to pay healthcare providers who have made it possible for Kenyans to be healthy and working today? And with that point, we need to take a short break. We'll be back with more of this conversation. Do stay with us.